Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the third part of the series Attacking Lineups. And today we'll concentrate on lineups dealing pure damage. And as you've already seen on the title sheet, it will be mostly about how could it be otherwise about Yasmine. And quite new hero. She's dealing a lot of pure damage, very sneaky hero, and also very strong. And then also about Heidi. I used to play with Heidi way back when no one played with Heidi really. So on server 5, where I have my first account, there I leveled up Heidi quite heavily, and I have to say he's a solid hero. Back then Ishmael was the king, the hero that was used by a lot of players, almost by everyone. But Heidi, with his dodging ability, also his first artifact dodge, yeah, could withstand in some battles. I also have them uploaded on my channel. You might want to check this out. Title I forgot, something like invest into Heidi or something like this. Forget about Ishmael, but okay. Ishmael nowadays it's hard for him because he has not enough armor penetration. When it comes into the higher levels, then his 24 kilo armor penetration is just not enough to get through the tanks. Who the best tanks, Luther has over 38 kilo armor, so and then this just gets pointless to use Ishmael later on. Maybe early on he's still okay, but it's not so fun to level up heroes, and you cannot use them later on when you have a high total power of your team. So I am not a specialist for Yasmine. I have to say that she has been around for a while now. I have had many battles against her mostly. So I'm not sure. There might be really better lines than my suggestion. So don't take my word for it that it's the very best lineup. But my feeling really is that Heidi and Yasmine, they have quite a nice synergy. First of all, they're dealing both pure damage. So when you play with Albus, when you play on Facebook and have the pets, and you add Albus as your pet, then this gets very strong. Because Albus will deal more from time to time. He's dealing pure damage, and he will deal more pure damage when at the time of the charging of his ultimate there are heroes that deal pure damage, and Heidi and Yasmine, they are dealing a lot of pure damage all of the time. So my feeling is this can be very strong. Also the dodge, the first artifact of Heidi is dodge increase. This helps Yasmine, of course. Then she gets even more difficult to hit for the opponent, so this is kind of nice, I think. Then as a tank I will mostly use Astaroth. I thought about it, okay, Jabba is nice, but he's also dealing some pure damage, but yeah, objectively my feeling is Astaroth is still better, except when the other guy is using a Morrigan, but then negating the fourth skill of Astaroth. But then, of course, it's no point to use Astaroth, but not always. You have opponents that are using a Morrigan, so I think it's still best to go for Astaroth when you want to have a team with Yasmine. Yes, even though I don't really like the battle style of Astaroth, he has not a lot of forward thrust. He's hanging back a little bit, but still his fourth skill is just very strong. So, that's why I go for him as a tank, and then I will also go with Dorian mostly. Not sure, maybe Marta would be better, but I like Dorian because in the old days when I played with Heidi, a Dorian next to Heidi makes Heidi really very resistible and strong. He's recharging his health all of the time because he's dealing slow damage, and this is ideal for being the vampirism out of Dorian. Hero number 5 in this lineup, I'm not so sure. There it varies, I think, according to your opponent. But we will have a look at this now. So setting up some lineups. At first we try to set up the very tough lineup. we already used in the first video here when we tested the physical attack lineups. So we have Marcus, Astaroth, Andvari, Sebastian and Marta. It's quite a tough lineup to test because, okay, we need to deal a lot of pure damage to get through here. A bit unrealistic that someone is using such a defensive lineup, but I did some testing and we can pass even here. So this would be a resistant and lineup for testing physical and pure damage teams. So how do we attack here? We use Heidi, as I've said. Heidi, then we want to place Dorian next to him, and Astaroth, mostly for bringing back Yasmine should something go wrong at an early stage, because Yasmine is a fragile superstar. We don't want to lose her, so Astaroth does make sense when you play with either Karg or Yasmine, I would say. Apart from that, I would not use Astaroth. Maybe there are other lines. Okay, when you play with Orion, he's also a superstar, but here you can make very attacking lineups with other teammates who are also attacking, so Astaroth, I would really only use him when you play with either Karg or Yasmine at the moment. Okay, and now hero number 3, number 5, up against the magic lineup, we will then use Isaac, but now here maybe rather we go with Nebula, right? Yeah, and this was a very close one. I didn't pass by some seconds, so in the first testing, and now let's see if they can pass. Using Jabba here instead of Astaroth, they will pass easily, but now with Astaroth, it gets a bit harder. I think Nebula makes a lot of sense because she's supporting, she's taking turn in supporting either Yasmine or Heidi. So now Heidi is supported, you can see that by these little balls here, orbs. And this is looking quite good now, right? Heidi is using his first skill when he's supported by Nebula. He will deal a tremendous amount of pure damage. Okay, now Marcus is gone. Astaroth will fall in a moment. 3 heroes left. They are still quite resilient. It will be close, but as I've said, no one is using such a defensive lineup. Does not really make sense. Afterwards we will test our abilities against more attacking lineups. I think that's much more realistic when it comes to arena battles. Maybe we'll not pass here by a few seconds, but still I think this is alright like that. Now, okay, Marta is very resilient, but this time it's a success. Yes, very well done. And you see Heidi is, maybe it surprises you, but he's doing more damage in this battle than Yasmine. So Yasmine alone against such a lineup, she has not enough power. It's a bit the same with what was my experience. I used Heidi alone without Yasmine, and against very healthy and lineups with a lot of healing, I just couldn't pass with Heidi alone. That's why I gave up on him a little bit. But now they can play together, and adding Albus as a pet, now they have enough power to pass even very defensive lineups. So, and here we see again Marcus doing the same amount of healing as Marta, which is really comes as a surprise for me, because everyone goes like, oh, Marcus is a bad healer. No, he isn't. As a matter of fact, he's a very strong one. Okay, but that's another point. Now let's go for some other lineups, some more realistic lineups where we have to test our strengths. So we go with a standard solid Orion lineup, also adding Helios to make matters more complicated for Yasmine, because Helios is really the arch nemesis of Yasmine. That's why we really want to use Astaroth here, because I'm sure Helios will be able to kill Yasmine once and maybe not twice before he falls. So that's why we want to use Astaroth. But the first team for Orion, I like to use Jorgen here, and then playing with the Dorian and Aurora. Okay, one could also go with Astaroth, but I don't know. Maybe Aurora is the more the logical choice, right? Yeah, let's go with Aurora and then Dorian. This would be standard solid lineup for Orion. And when I put this in the Guild Battles chat yesterday, some guys then would attack with other Orion teams, which was also quite interesting to see for me. There I saw that there it does make more sense to use Celeste instead of Helios. When it comes to Orion versus Orion, Celeste is probably more useful than Helios, because these guys, they could easily pass like this, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I'm not sure if I would. The Celeste sure is very strong, but I don't know how this lineup will do against the lineup with Yasmine. Probably less good than when you have Helios. So okay, but this is another issue. Now let's see, how do we attack here? Using Astaroth, Yasmine, same as before. We want the lineup, we don't want to change the lineup completely all of the time, because when you go for a team, you want to invest into your top 5 heroes and then maybe bringing up a hero number 6 or number 7, but you cannot completely change your team all of the time, even if it would be maybe better now to use Lilith and Cornelius, right? Then maybe it would be easier to pass here. But I don't think we want to do that, because it takes time to bring up Lilith and Cornelius. So we go with the same team almost as before, but instead of Nebula, we play with Isaac. He has also a very nice synergy with Yasmine. He's providing armor penetration, which is helping Yasmine. And also he is just good against mage lineup, because going with Nebula here, I think we will lose very easily. You can test that yourself. I've done that already, so we'll go with Isaac now. Playing with Nebula, I'm sure you can deal more damage, but here it will be no success, so we have to play with Isaac here. And now let's see what happens. Okay, Helios is killing Yasmine for the first time, and but he was killed by Isaac probably now. Yes, Isaac is doing a lot of damage now, because he could charge his first skill very fast, because Orion attacks heavily, and you see this is a very nice victory like that. Even though he was using Helios. So now just for the records, let's see what happens if we attack with Nebula, just like before. I think this should not be a pass. Because Yasmine will soon die now. And then the question is, can Heidi get through? And the answer is no. It's hard to kill, but at some point it gets too much, and okay, you see we just lost about yes, in the same time in 40 seconds, so it doesn't really make a huge difference if you use Isaac or not. Heidi is doing a lot of damage, but yeah, complete disaster. So one of absolute anarchy. Now he's attacking with, okay, some special lineup here. He cannot pass. He's testing the power of this lineup. Yeah, he's using interesting heroes, Astrid and Lucas, Dante, Elmir. That seems to be quite hard to generate enough damage dealing with this lineup. Okay, so what is next? I wanted to see if we could pass here also with Isaac instead of Nebula, but I think then we don't have enough power against this lineup. I guess Nebula is really better. But just to see, maybe we can also pass like this, and then my advice would be go for Isaac and not for Nebula as your top 5. If we don't pass, maybe still make this your top 5, because there are quite some magic lineups out there. So if we're doing reasonably, maybe Nebula. Okay, with Nebula we produce more damage, but probably better to play like this as the standard team. Because now Isaac cannot help as much as before, because they are not dealing a lot of magic damage. None at all. Okay, Marcus a little bit maybe. Yes, now some magic damage here with the second skill of Marcus, but apart from that, Isaac is taking a long time until he can charge his ultimate. It's looking not so bad, right? Oh, Heidi died. Okay, good thing we have Astaroth. Okay, Andrade just fell. It's brought back now by Astaroth's 4th skill. This is looking quite reasonable, okay, so maybe making this your standard lineup. In view of the final end boss Seymour, maybe you still need a Nebula, then you can kill him with Nebula and Heidi. I guess you check out the video of my fellow YouTuber Herowars Player. He defeated Seymour using a 19 kilo Heidi together with a very leveled up and buffed Nebula, so maybe you still want to have Nebula also. Okay, and we don't pass here. Was to be expected, but then yeah. Yes, we're dealing a bit less damage than before. Before Heidi was at 2.6 million and Yasmine also over 2 million damage. Okay, so let's see. Now we're going for a Kark lineup. What can we do against Kark? This is hard for Yasmine, I have to say. Let's go for 2 different Kark lineups. So Astaroth, Jorgen Faceless Chat. That was my preferred lineup when I played with Kark on server 5. Jorgen Faceless Chat. So this is a standard lineup for Kark. Standard lineup for Kark. One. I think there are two standard lineups, maybe also some lineup with Kai, but this one is used a lot. So here it's really tricky. So I really think we should level up Andvari when we are up against Kark. Because without Andvari, I tried, we can try once, but I think it's really a disaster. Kark will just, it's just too strong a hero, so that's why they introduced Andvari. So one has a chance against a team with Kark. Nowadays, maybe if you have a special team with a lot of dodge, it can work, or sometimes Keira also with a special team can beat the Kark lineup, even without Andvari, but lineup like we use here, magic pure damage, I think without Kark it's hopeless. So even maybe it would be maybe better to use Sebastian to counterattack Jorgen's first skill and also the second skill, the power throw faceless, but still even so. I don't see much we will achieve here. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe if Yasmine had attacked Kark, but she went after us, so now comes Kark, and okay, at the armor. Okay, it doesn't look that bad, I have to say. A bit surprised now. It's actually pretty close now. Kark will probably save the day, maybe. Ah, close. Okay, Heidi has the dodge. Oh, and we pass. Okay. Okay, the dodge, the first artifact of Heidi is a big help, of course, because then Kark misses his attacks once in a while. Yeah, here we will pass for sure. Even with Yasmine gone, right? Heidi can inflict enough damage on these two guys, right? That will be a close one. First Chet would have to go. Jorgen is annoying with his... okay, the snake goes after Chet. Yes, bye-bye Chet. That was the third skill of Heidi. And now it's a bit hard because Heidi will not be able to use his first skill because Jorgen is always attacking with his... Yes. Ah, okay, now he could use it once. First skill. Very close one. Maybe if the snake can get out one more time, but... Okay, close one. We'll do a rerun, but I think it was a bit coin flippy, so I don't know. Would think probably use Sebastian. Without Sebastian, this should be no good. Let's just skip the battle and have a look at the result. Yeah, this is now the Kark show. Here, it was the show of Heidi. But this one was just a defeat, Kark getting through quite easily. We can have a look, but this will be over in less than a minute. Well, okay, it might be possible without Andvari, but most of the time I guess Kark will prevail here. Yes, no. Yeah, it's not that clear, okay. But still, I would recommend you bring up Andvari, because then it gets really safer against Kark. Maybe not in your top 5 Andvari, but bring him up as your hero number 6 or 7. Let's try this one more time. Yeah, okay. I think it's really better. When you have Andvari, not a fully maxed Andvari, but an Andvari that is at the same level as the opposition. So level 130 is doing a good job here. So let's play with Astaroth. Still we use Heidi and Dorian. Astaroth, Yasmine, and Andvari. Now it gets a lot harder, because Faceless second skill now doesn't work. Cannot lift Astaroth, because Andvari is protecting him from being lifted, and like this it should really be quite a safe victory. Maybe once in a while we can still lose against this lineup, but here my feeling is clearly that we have the edge against this team with Kark. Yeah. We'll do 2 more battles and skip just to see, but I think it will be 3-0 for this team. Bomb surprise from Heidi. Yeah, nice one. Yasmine and Heidi dealing about the same amount of damage. There was less healing than in the lineup with Orion and Dorian we used before, so they didn't need to inflict that much damage. Andvari also doing a lot of damage. He's a strong hero, one has to say. So attacking. And now let's just attack 2 more times. Yasmine and Andvari. And then we just skip the battle. This will be a victory also. And 1 more time. So the key against Kark teams is really to use Andvari. Otherwise it's a bit coin flip. At least when you use yeah, okay, maybe generally it's a coin flip when you don't use Andvari against the Kark lineup. Let's put on the other lineup that is used a lot. Is also used with Marta instead of Jet, but I think Jet is definitely better, more dangerous in this team with Kark. And then I see a lot of guys playing them with Nebula and Faceless. It's also a very strong team, one has to admit that. Standard up for Kark. Oops. Like this. Okay. And now we'll just go with the same lineup directly with the lineup for I think here it's even less of a coin flip if we don't use Andvari. We can do it once just to see, but I think this is the stronger lineup for Kark here. Then with Jorgen maybe, yeah. So we go with Sebastian and Yasmine. Yes, now it's hard for us. Because when Nebula is supporting Kark and he is hitting a critical hit, then it's good night, Yasmine. Okay, now that is nice. Yasmine went after Kark, but okay, again she's on Kark. Yeah, we can win here, right? But it's coin flippy. I mean, you win some, you lose some. This is this is looking pretty good, as a matter of fact. Yes. Okay, we don't need we don't need Andvari even against Kark, but you know, this is maxed. Everything is maxed, so I still think it's a good idea to bring up Andvari. Let's do this again. Again a victory? No, this time it's a loss, okay. Yeah, okay, so then when we go with Andvari, it's plain sailing again. I just do it once. I really like to use Dorian in this team, because Dorian has a very nice synergy with Heidi. To beat Heidi here is very tough to get rid of Heidi. Should Yasmine fail, there is still Heidi, so it would really be a lot of fun to go with this lineup. It is not a 100% victory, I can feel that. I mean, Heidi could have gotten hit before the critical and then Heidi is out, but I think it is the better bet. Now Yasmine and Heidi both dodged. If they hadn't dodged, then they would be out, both of them. But okay, Heidi is providing extra dodge with his first skill. So we can count on that they don't get always hit by Kark, and yeah, it's nice to see this. Okay, so much for Kark lineups. Now the last thing we want to test is Keira, but usually my experience up to now is that Yasmine does not really have problems with lineups for Keira. The point is probably Keira is always hitting Yasmine right away, so Yasmine will attack Keira directly, and then usually this is too much for Keira, and then she's gone and it's all over. So I'm not so afraid of Keira lineups. I would not be afraid. I would not be afraid if I was to use this lineup. So we just can go with, okay, we stick to Astaroth now and Yasmine, and then we can, okay, sorry. First you have to set up the team for Keira. Let's go with a semi-defensive team for Keira. I would not recommend this team, because I think a good team for Keira is always all-out attacking. But just for testing here, let's go with Dorian and Chet and Jingmao. Team for Keira, semi-defensive defensive. And now let's see, maybe we go with Nebula again here. We could also bring in Leon. Leon is of course a nightmare for Keira also, because she's stopping Keira after every basic attack for 4 seconds. If there is a Violet Mara on Leon, she's stopping her up to 12 seconds after every attack. So could go with Leon if you care to level her up. She's also dealing some pure damage. This will be very strong, but I guess also our team from before with Isaac or Nebula should just be strong enough here. Let's try with this. Or Sebastian, yeah. But let's try with Isaac, because we need Isaac against magic attack lineup, so we have him for sure if we go with this team. Let's see if we can pass. I did a test with Leon before, it was just plain sailing. And also with Nebula it was easy. Now with Isaac it's probably a bit less clear. Yeah. Okay. Good luck, Yasmine. Okay. Yeah, Isaac is not doing much here, so I guess here we really have to bring another hero that is a bit supporting the attack like Nebula is. And now Yasmine goes after Keira, and it will get very hard for Keira. Okay, now Dorian is next to her, making this lineup quite resilient, maybe, right? Okay, maybe this is not so easy to pass, but now, okay, Keira is gone for the first time. Oi, oi, oi. Okay, glad we dodged some of this attack. More difficult than I had thought. Yeah, maybe here it's a good thing to have Dorian next to Keira, even though I'm not really a fan of this, but against this team with Yasmine might be all over very fast for Keira without Dorian being next to her. Okay. So let's check out the stats here. Okay, but I'm sure we will pass this, of course, without much changes. Now maybe we really have to use Lena, right? Let's bring her. I think this is now very strong, because Leon is also contributing to the damage, so... Now you see, Keira gets charmed for 4 seconds by Leon. Charmed again. This is of course stopping Keira, might be decisive. That's difficult, still difficult. Oh my god, this is harder than I have thought. But now we have a very strong situation with Heidi and Leon in the vampirism hour of Dorian. I don't think they can get rid of them, not in a million years. Not even Keira. Yes. Leon and Heidi are just better in the vampirism aura of Dorian than Keira is. But okay, it took us Leon here to pass. It's interesting, of course, to use Leon. She is a bit anti-synergetic with Heidi in some ways, because Heidi is waking everyone up with his first skill. She has a good synergy with Yasmine. Okay, Heidi is not using his first skill all of the time, so yeah, why not go with Leon also? Yasmine died a bit early, so let's try again. Let's see if we just got lucky, but I don't think so. I really think it is a good idea to use Leon. Let's just skip the battle. Yeah, this looks like a victory also. And like a victory where Yasmine did not fall. Yeah. So, okay, tricky lineup. I guess it's then even more, it's then easier against the all-out attacking lineup, which I like to recommend for Keira with Galahad and Cheng Mao, and with Chet, yes, and then not sure if we should go with Nebula or Sebastian. Probably Sebastian would be the better choice overall. So this is my preferred lineup for Keira. It's an all-out attacking lineup. I guess it's easier for us to pass here. Here's maybe no need for Leon. Let's try with Nebula once more instead of Leon. I guess with Leon we will pass again, but I guess now we can also pass with this team. Might be wrong though. Keira is already dead, okay, so that's the problem with this all-out attacking lineup. It gets a bit more fragile for Keira, but usually there is no fierce attacker like Yasmine on her, so usually this doesn't matter, but yeah, here it does matter. Okay, now maybe the standard hero to use would maybe be Leon rather than Nebula or Sebastian. Just Isaac when you're up against a magic damage team. Let's see how we are doing here with Leon. Can we pass? I can, because Leon is also contributing to the damage. Would do so even more if there was a Albus around. Yeah, I'm not sure. For which 5 heroes would I go? Leon or Nebula first? Probably Leon, right? Okay, against the final end boss in the campaign there, it would really help to have a very strong Nebula. But if you don't really care for the campaign or beating the final end boss very soon, then maybe better go for Leon. I think she's doing a better job. She's also great also in the vampirism aura of Dorian. Okay, with Nebula we passed here, right? So we should also pass using Leon. Has someone fallen yet? I didn't pay attention. No, now someone is falling for the first time. Yeah, it will be a close one. Against lineups with magic attack, there I guess we still need Isaac. Eventually we would have passed here. Okay, with Nebula one can generate a little bit more damage, okay. Yes, and when we use this lineup here with Leon, I think we have no chance. Here I think we really need someone someone anti-mage like Cornelius, Lilith, Rufus, okay, maybe also. Okay, if you have Axel as a pet, this might of course also help to balance the health in your team. But I think this is hopeless like this. But let's try once. So probably going with Astaroth, Yasmine, Nebula, Heidi, Orion as the main 5. And then hero number 6 would be Isaac. Oh no, the other way around. Isaac is in the top 5 and then maybe Andvari is hero number 6. Nebula is hero number 7, and Leon is Leon is hero number 8, and now she's destroying everyone, right? The Leon special here. If she had a Violet Mara attached to her, now there would have been a good chance that she could have destroyed everyone. Like this, now it gets very difficult because the charming is not long enough. At some point, Orion will be able to use his ultimate, and then it's all over. But with a longer charming effect, who knows? I suggest you check out my video, a historic victory, where Leon was capable of beating everyone like this solo, being in the vampirism aura of a fallen Orion. What we haven't done is we didn't do any tests against the twins. So maybe we set up this really strong team for the twins we saw in the last video. Okay, she can bring that over time. Okay, it's a draw for Leon, right? Very nice. Okay. Yeah, okay, let's go for this team with the twins. But I think when we use Isaac, we will pass. I hope at least. So it was with Jorgen and Celeste and Leon. Strong lineup for the twins. And now let's see. I suggest we go with Isaac. And I hope this is enough. No need to bring in more magic counter heroes against magic attack. If it's not enough, we might have to use Lilith instead of Astaroth. Lilith would be hero number 9 I would be bringing up, because she's excellent against Seymour, the final end boss, and against magic lineups. Okay, here it might also make sense to use Andvari instead of Astaroth, maybe Andvari. Yeah, this is a close one now. But Now it looks successful because Lars just fell, but it was very close. Now Isaac, I think, will save the day. And Heidi will be impossible to get rid of here, or almost impossible. Once he can use his ultimate, he is recharging his health, and Isaac is doing a lot of damage with his 4th skill. The only thing that is annoying is Jorgen's 1st skill. Yes. Oh, Heidi got charmed just when he was about to use his 1st skill. But now we still pass, okay. Maybe it gets easier for us when we use Andvari, because then we would not be affected by the storm of Lars. Should he be able to use it, to use his storm. Yes, doing quite a good job here, Andvari. It's more aggressive than Astaroth, it seems, yes, a lot more aggressive, which is helpful. Maybe we should always use Andvari. Okay, I think Astaroth is still better probably, in order to bring back Yasmine once or twice. But when seeing this, I'm not so sure anymore, I have to say. Yeah, probably still Astaroth, because we do have this fragile superstar, Yasmine, but it's hard to say. The damage chart, so in the first battle here, Isaac was the main damage dealer. And here in the second battle, it's a more balanced damage dealing, and Andvari, Yasmine and Isaac almost doing the same amount of damage. Okay. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any question, feel free to ask in the comment. This is Max. See you next time. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye.